welcome back to another episode of Cable Chatter. Although we have taken some time off as we move into our new studio at Vision Corner, we are happy to be back. Today I will be chatting with Union City Ag teacher Kyle Woolston about the new Ag building at the school. But first, some community announcements. Starting off, the State of the County will be taking place on May 17th at 8 a.m. in Farmland. On May 25th, the first show of the summer concert series at Addison Crossing will be taking place, featuring Prankster, starting at 7 p.m. With the end of the school year quickly approaching, there are many graduations taking place around the county. On May 31st, Union City Junior Senior High will be having its graduation ceremony. Randolph Southern will also be having their graduation ceremony on May 31st. Lastly, on June 1st, Winchester Community High School's graduation will be taking place. Stay tuned for more events that will be happening this summer in Randolph County. Next up is my recent interview with UC Ag teacher Kyle Woolston. Today I'm here with Kyle Woolston to talk to him about the new Ag building at Union City Junior Senior High School. To start us off, what is the purpose of the new Ag building?
So the new Ag building serves as the classroom and laboratory space for our Ag classes and pathways at Union City. So we have an Ag mechanics shop area. We also have an animal science laboratory, which we currently have rabbits in. A few rabbits, and then we're looking to expand in the future, but that's what the purpose of it.
And then, with you being a new teacher here, what are you most excited about being able to grow in this building?
So just the kind of the opportunities. When I first came on, they told me that they were going to build a new building, and was looking for some ideas and pretty much left it as a blank slate for myself in the planning process. And so I went to work planning equipment and usage of the space to take and try to maximize things for the students, get a lot of hands-on activities and projects that they can work on. And the tough part originally was there's so many different classes in the Ag curriculum that trying to find something for every class in the space. And so that's where, what was supposed to be storage is now a rabbitry. And so, just figuring little things out like that. But I mean, it's really exciting being able to have that challenge.
Yeah, I feel like every day I'm just walking around, oh, Maya has a rabbit. Just
yeah.
Out of nowhere, I'll be walking on the complete other side of the school and there's rabbits all over the place.
Yeah, so that's what I've seen. I've seen pictures of rabbits in the library, in the front office, and all over. So, but it's cool to be able to see that and kids be able to experience that. So,
and then what are some of the things leading up to the actual building of it that have made it possible to have it there?
So a lot of that was kind of groundwork per se was done prior to me coming on. I know whenever I was hired here at Union City, there was a plan already in place. Mr. Black and Mr. Adams was very involved in that. The school board members, I know Mr. Wasson, Jerry Wasson was highly involved with helping get that off the ground as well. And there was many others that I'm sure I'm forgetting at the moment. But I know whenever I came on, pretty much they showed me what the blueprints were going to be, and then my mind started rolling with what direction we wanted to go with it.
And then what was the main part that you've played in it so far in the creation of it and into the actual teaching part of it? And what do you expect to gain out of all of it?
So kind of my main part was trying to match equipment with curriculum. That students, they're for a long time, Ag curriculum in the state of Indiana, they got a lot kind of into not using their hands and not actually physically doing things, it being more of just a classroom type assignment, type class. And so I was wanting to focus on, hey, what type of projects can we get kids out of their seats, get them out, get hands-on, because we have students that lack that experience. And so my goal was, the thought process on the planning was, what can we do to get them up and out. And that's, kind of the basis behind like the CNC machines, the welders, all the woodworking equipment. In the long run, when everything's going the way it's supposed to be, we can take in, put out some pretty polished projects. So.
And then what are some of the main challenges that you faced so far and that you are looking ahead to try to plan to not have to get in trouble with those things?
So this is the first time I've ever had the opportunity kind of from the beginning before they really, broke ground on it. One of the biggest challenges was just trying to find that, what equipment do we want? What equipment do we think the kids could utilize? And so, it was a lot of reaching out to other ag departments, not just in Indiana, but across the nation, asking, what they do. And so that was a big challenge, and then kind of putting that into a list of what we wanted to do with it. Another challenge right now is, making sure, and thinking ahead, how do we acquire, materials for projects? Currently we have a pallet of cutoffs from Frank Miller Lumber. And, we've been working on some projects with that, with the planer and something, getting those kids highly involved with their hands, doing those type things. But that's kind of our concern in the future, just making sure that we have the materials and supplies to continue to do projects. So.
And then what are some, looking back to it's almost been a full year since the school year. I'm not sure about the timeline that it actually was open to you guys to use full time.
So we moved in late February. We started that process of moving in. It's been a slow process just because it's, we've been going through and having to sort out years and years of ag department items and just stuff. And so, I think we finished moving the bulk of everything just this past week. So it's been it's been a process.
Now really getting into it and feeling like you unloaded the last box.
Yes, exactly.
You're finally just being able to use it and not have to think about, oh gosh, where am I going to put all this stuff?
Exactly, because I know up until last week we were still having tribal time in the old building or in the high school, and then I was trying to get all my other classes out, and then we're just like, we need the clean break, we need the clean cut, and so we've moved the tribal time out. So it's been a really good positive adjustment, trying to get everything lined up and out there. So and then with the weather we've had, kids don't like walking in the rain, so it's but.
And then thinking about more from, I know you can't speak exactly, but just from what you've heard around, what are some of the student thoughts about having that opportunity?
I think it's been, from what I've been able to tell, I think it's been received very positively. Having the opportunity to, get up out of the seats and do some things, work on some things. I know with some of the classes being able, for example, right now we're talking about genetics in the animal science classes and in our intro class, and we've been using the rabbits as a example. And so, we can take, and we've got some purebred rabbits that we can show how those traits are passed on. And then we also have some crossbred rabbits, and we can look at the mother and father and see what the offspring are producing. And then we're going into the, even as far as predicting potential offspring and what, if we bred this one to this one, what will the babies look like potentially? So, being able to see that, just being able to actually see the animal in front of them, I think it adds, it's so much more than a picture.
Yeah, it adds more of a real sense to it, that this is something that's actually happening in the real world, not just in the textbook.
Exactly. That real world application.
That's something that I feel like needs to be pushed out more into all of school, because students are slowly caring less.
Well, and it's, just from my personal experience, they sometimes it's hard to relate what's in the textbook to the real world. And, we could sit there and read about rabbits all day, every day, but going up and actually feeding the rabbits and making sure they have plenty of water and making sure that everything's being accounted for. And, we've been spending some time talking about filling out the pedigree papers and, and things of that nature. Just doing it, it sticks. A lot of kids remember that, over just answering a worksheet.
Yeah, and I feel like it makes them have some sense of responsibility when they're the ones having to take care of the rabbits, when a lot of times in school and in their regular life they might not be seeing much of that.
Yeah, it does. There's some responsibility that's involved. And, we've had some ups and we've had some downs throughout the year, and but it's all part of it. And that's what I explained to them from the beginning. I go, guys, this is real world learning. You're going to see the positives, you're going to see the negatives, but that's part of it.
Yeah, and then is there anything else that you're planning on adding out there that's not currently there?
So two big things that we're getting ready to kind of roll into. Greenhouse project that's going to be added. The plan as of right now is to break ground for it this summer. It'll be a hydroponic greenhouse, kind of based on a farm to table thought process, producing fresh vegetables, produce that we can use either in the school or help supply to the community. So that is being planned to be built just to the south of the current ag building. And then on the other side of it, the Workforce Wednesday group that Mr. Holly and I was working with, we'll be building a chicken building, poultry building. I always call it the chicken coop, but it's a building. And then that will become part of the ag department as well. And so it'll be another example of hands-on learning, being able to manage livestock, smaller livestock, but the principle's still the same, across the board. So, but just opportunities for kids, just to be able to learn things and get their hands on.
Thank you so much for coming and being on this.
Thanks for having me.
Hello, I'm here today with Rodney Sickels to get more of a student perspective on the new ag building. Okay, so what is some of the biggest benefits that you see that has already started or that you can see happening in the future with this building being added to our campus?
Okay, I think the biggest benefits to this facility being added to our school is that first off, students are able to become a lot more hands-on with whatever they're trying to work on, such as we're going to start having hydroponics very soon. They can do welding, woodworking. Our rabbitry is really taking off. We have 2 litters now, and we have kids planning to show them. Our incubator and brooders have just come in, so that's going to be really exciting to use those. And this is really a real-world experience for students that can get a really good idea of a plethora of agricultural-based opportunities that could be possible to them since they have the opportunity to experience and get hands-on experience with all this stuff.
And then, so far, what is your favorite thing that you've got to experience due to this ag barn being out here?
I think my favorite thing is kind of all the woodworking stuff because I love doing carpentry, but I'm also really excited about the welding part because I really want to get into that. But I think for the students, everyone's really enjoying the rabbits because they're learning a lot from them and they're really being able to follow along the way. Like the breeding and the raising and the growing out process, which is very interesting, and a lot of people don't know a lot about rabbits, so that's really cool.
So what are some of the community impacts that you could see this building having?
Well, like in regular workplaces now, they're using new advanced technology, and here we have bought quite a bit new technology that we can use, such as new welders and teach them how to properly weld. We have planers that you can use for woodworking and an ag teacher who is highly experienced on these. So he can teach us how to use them and be hands-on because more than likely you're going to go in the workplace, you're going to need to learn how to use those and you're already going to know here. You're going to be one step ahead.
And then what would you say is your favorite part about being able to be out here?
My favorite part is we have expanded into rabbits. Kevin here is one of our little bunnies, and I just love to see them every day. We feed them, weigh them, take pictures. We have done an agri-science fair project, and we're going to see if we can't get onto national stage for FFA. And so the rabbits are by far my favorite part about.
So not only is it helping the community by having new technology, it's also allowing the students that are part of the community go to other areas, like having the experience of placing nationally with the rabbits.
Yes, and they get to learn about life cycles and how things breed and how life cycles work. It's just like a human, you're just doing it for rabbits, and it's just teaching them about agriculture, and maybe it'll be no profession they want to go into.
So what are some of the adjustments you guys have had to make for moving from inside the school to being out here?
So probably the biggest adjustment we've had to make from moving out there to here is getting back and forth from like inside the school to out here. So it can be difficult for students to get in and out because Mr. Woolston can't just walk back and forth all the time every day for every period. So we have had difficulties, especially with people like leaving doors open and things. We've had difficulties doing that. And another adjustment is now that we have all this area, we have a lot more things that students can do, and we have a lot more opportunities for students to do things individually. And we haven't quite got all the supplies in here. Like, we don't have any tools right now, so students aren't able to do everything that they want to do or hope they can do because of the lack of things that we have. And then it also can be harder out here for like small amounts of students. This is a very large area, and it's just a lot of stuff to do. And just the biggest adjustment has been trying to get kids into the routine of walking back and forth from the buildings and getting into this area and not staying over in the other side of the building.
And then what would you say is your favorite part about being able to be out here?
So my favorite part is that this place is huge, as you can tell. And the other ag shop was really small, and it was super crammed, and there was stuff everywhere, and you couldn't really do anything. And out here, I feel like you have a lot more freedom than you had in the other building.
Thank you.